That's it. Do you drop it back? Today? Oh, don't really. I'll be fine. I'll be good today. I'll be here tomorrow. What the hell is
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Should be good.
Round 28 of the NPL New South Wales men's competition brings us to Wanderers Football Park with two teams still live in action for slightly different things at this stage of the season. The Western Sydney Wanderers still in the hunt for the finals. Meanwhile, St George FC trying to climb off the foot of the ladder. It's the Western Sydney Wanderers hosting St George FC live on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Will Constantinides here for you, and it is a overcast and previously wet Saturday afternoon here in Rudy Hill, but it looks like the rain might have just stopped for the time being, which should hopefully make for a nice slick surface and some good football. Let's take you through the team news, starting first with the Western Sydney Wanderers. They fell 3-0 against the SD Raiders over at Ernie Smith, which has put a slight dent in their finals hopes, although they are only just 3 points away from the side that currently occupies 6th position, which is of course the SD Raiders. So a win today will put them back into the mix. If they lose or draw, well, their finals hopes might be dashed at their home ground here today. Here is how they line up. In goal is Samuel Goldberg, makes his 3rd start in this competition this season. Number 2 is Joshua Setanich. Number 5, Jesse Cameron. Number 6, the captain, Oscar Morrison. Number 8, Corey Da Cruz. Number 10, Johnny Pavlovich. Number 16, Tristan Arate. Number 21, Rocco McNamara. Number 28, Giorgio Hasarati. Number 30, Anderson Back. And number 31, Emil Katrib. Meanwhile, for St George FC, they occupy bottom spot for the first time this season after their 0-0 draw to Apia, which was certainly a positive result, but it was only bettered by Sydney Olympics game against UNSW, where they took 3 points, a combination of which has seen Olympic leapfrog St George FC to the Pro-Rel playoff spot, and has seen St George now in the automatic relegation spot with just 3 games to go, including this one. So this really is crunch time for the boys from Barton Park, and they line up like this coming into today's game. Number 2 is Rocco Smith. Number 4 is Jaden Cito. Number 6, Pat O'Shea. Number 8 is Evan Souris. Number 9, Nicholas Katharich. Number 10, Jaden Casella. Number 14, Isaac Cunningham. Number 15, Mark Rodich. Number 16, Caden Wright. Number 18, the goalkeeper is James Hussoy. And number 88 is Chris McStay. And so with all that out of the way, all that remains is kickoff. St George FC in their away navy blue. The Wanderers, of course, in the red and black hoops. Skatharich and Chris McStay at the top of the attack for St George today, hoping to get on the score sheet. Of course, they did well to keep Apia scoreless last time out, and they know the Western Sydney Wanderers are one of the most proficient attacking teams in the competition. The good news is that Alan Lawal is not starting today. He is the competition's leading goal scorer, but he is on the bench, so that's something to watch out for as the game goes on. As St George kick off, here is Rocco Smith, immediately pressed by Giorgio Hasarati. St George looking long, but that'll be mopped up easily by Sam Goldberg, who made quite a stunning debut to taking that starting goalkeeper spot in the NPL side for the Western Sydney Wanderers. Made some fine saves last time out when they played UNSW, en route to the Wanderers getting an important win against the Students. Of course, this is the part of the season where a lot of the more eminent prospects of the Wanderers NPL start to be integrated into the A-League men's side. So a couple of them are being rested. But with the Wanderers being knocked out of the Australia Cup last weekend, exactly 1 week ago, when they played in Melbourne Victory, I wonder if that means they might come home with wind in their sails. Still in the hunt to become the first academy side to make NPL men's finals, as Skataric has a bit of work to do from this position. Katrib is right there with him, still with Skataric. He's got 2 defenders for company, but he's got round them both. And Skataric, that's a good ball in. McStay! Well, that would have really lit up the highlight reels had he got that on target. Awkwardly and acrobatically couldn't get to it, but that's positive signs from the Saints. Skataric, the mid-season signing, not a stranger to St George FC, that's for sure. It's his second stint with the club. He's previously played NPL football with them. And he's come across from Blacktown. He's been thrust into a leading role. Of course, Blacktown not too long ago were in a familiar position to St. George towards the bottom end of the ladder, but they've had a bit of a rise themselves. Now St. George take over. Here's Sito. Check of the shoulder from right, wants to open up to the far side and does. McStay. Very much the engine room of the St. George team is Chris McStay. Scutteridge dropping off the line to link up with him. And now you can see the Wanderers are trying to limit the spaces at the moment, but they found their way towards the right side. How's the delivery in? Dealt with by Morrison, only as far as Scutteridge. St. George pressed that out of play. Last touch off Evan Suris, so it will be a Western Sydney goal kick. Priorities for St. George will be trying to replicate their defensive performance from last week against competition leaders RPL Leichhardt. Not too many teams can say they've kept Franco Parisi's side scoreless. There's a speculative pass wide for Isaac Cunningham, won't get through. He's another one of their more recent additions. St. George making a bit of a swing in the mid-season window, trying to turn their fortunes around in what has been a really disruptive and injury-ridden season. Here's Hasarati. Wanderers with a chance to break forward here. And with Patrib. They did really well to hold it up from that position, and that means Wanderers still have it. McNamara taking it forward. Cameron looking for that early delivery in. It's shanked wide, but that will be a Western Sydney corner. The first one of the game goes the way of the hosts. You can see Giorgio Hasarati just leaning on that last defender. Hasarati has played primarily off the bench for the first grade team this season. This is just his second start, making his first start last week against the SD Raiders. And so here is the corner to come. This one from Anderson back. It's in a good area. It's cleared away by McStay. Casella is going to be backed into his corner here. Does very well. Isaac Cunningham giving chase to Jesse Cameron, who covers the ground well. Good defence by St. George FC. They all were almost able to spring a counter-attack from Jaden Casella's through ball. And Patrib is looking for Hasarati, who darts back and forth. And so the Wanderers continue. Right. McStay. It's a good feed by Scutteridge, and he's gone past his man, and now McStay is with him, so is Casella on the left. And St. George getting forward. Early cross towards McStay. Gets the shot on target, but it was fairly tame. And Nicholas Scutteridge has already had a couple of very bright touches early. Just the slightest of body feints to shake away Oscar Morrison. And acres of space unlocked on the left for Jaden Casella. Arate. Hasarati returns the pass back to him, and now it's the Wanderers' turn. Slightly undercooked, and Mark Rodich able to intercept the pass. Now the press comes from the Wanderers, and be careful here, St. George. Marco Smith draws the foul. For St. George is they do get a draw or a win today, depending on Sydney Olympics result against second place Sydney United 58. They may well get into that important 15th spot, depending on the result of this one. Casella. fouled by Katrib. The referee had a bit of a think about it, but it was fairly clear. Casella had been dragged down. There is Jaden Casella and Chris McStay having a bit of a conference as to what they plan to do. And amongst all the injuries really to St. George, especially in their attacking areas, those two have been fairly consistent throughout the season. McStay particularly was one of their headline signings coming into 2026. Casella, an in-swinging left-footed delivery. It's a good ball, it's deep, and it's towards the back post. It was left alone by Goldberg. And was in two minds there. The ball just wouldn't drop. Half a metre less of height on that from Casella. I fancy there would have been a St. George player at the back post waiting to nod that in. And so 8 minutes gone. It's been fairly open already. The Wanderers move out of the back, breaks down. Smith again. Sarati is not giving him an inch of space. Now McStay. Turned over. Pavlovic. Back. And the Wanderers make use of this attack. Now with Tristan Arate. Sliding it down for Katrib. Does very well to get there. Rocco McNamara. Here's Joshua Setanich. And Oscar Morrison. There's another one of the interesting changes to this Western Sydney Wanderers team is no Atia Waraga. Get a decent chunk of minutes against Melbourne Victory last weekend. Cross is cleared away by Cito. A wild swing at it in midfield by Corey De Cruz, who has a pop. And that is sprayed wide of the goal. James Kasoy to let this one go and goes long in search of Skatarich. Right, is fouled. I want to go quickly here. St. George try and catch the defence off guard, and they do. McStay. Early pass wide for Jaden Casella. Tripp forcing him away temporarily. They go back through Cito. Rodic had to, Padache rather, had to be quick in getting that to Mark Rodic. This Wanderers' press so far has been very quick, as Goldberg claims that's easy for him. Arate showing short this time. Now he's given something to chase. It's a foot race between him and Cito, but the St. George defender will get there and eventually shepherds it out of play. He does draw the foul. Hard work by St. George FC fullback Jaden Cito. Rare feat amongst the St. George team. Cito has started in every single one of the Saints games this season. Pavlovic take it off his toes. There was a good move between him and De Cruz developing. Suggestion of handball, but it is off his shoulder, and now Skatarich has a bit of time to turn. Early cross is awkwardly cleared away by McNamara. McStay is underneath it and can't bring it down to the benefit of a teammate. Instead, it's Asarati who runs into Cito, and St. George FC can restart their attack again. O'Shea. right. Had to get rid of it in a hurry and just about did. Suris, and now they keep the ball ticking over here, St. George. McStay. And that's exactly what St. George wanted on that attack. They've got Casella in a bit of space. Still with Jaden Casella. Has a look on goal. It's deflected and over. And for a brief moment, it was hands and mouths for the Western Sydney Wanderers. Goldberg had the initial trajectory of that Casella strike covered, but the deflection could have taken it anywhere and almost took it into the back of the net. And St. George now have corner to come. It's been a pretty fast first 13 minutes. Both teams want to play. Both teams know that 3 points is necessary for their objectives this season as Casella goes short to McStay. They're turning it back, and now cross won't clear the first defender. As Suris knew that wasn't good the moment it left his boot, and it clears the back fence. Of course, plenty of NPL men's action to come across your weekend. Up Leichhardt and the SD Raiders at 4 o'clock, Sydney Olympic and Sydney United at 5, as well as Manly and the Spirit at 5 as well. Lots of games still mean plenty. There's no dead rubbers at this point of the season still, as Hasarati looks up and is searching for Pavlovic, but is easy defended by St. George. Scutterich and McStay linking up to good effect, and now they can think about getting Cunningham in behind. It's Cunningham with an opportunity. The flag is up against him. And that's not the first time St. George have threatened to unlock this Western Sydney defence. They started out of the back, that time with Scutterich and McStay in the centre. And Isaac Cunningham drifting inwards, a diagonal run off the wing. Careful, the Wanderers with this high line. Cunningham and Casella, either side, are more than capable goal scorers. Wanderers find their way out of this press, so here is McNamara sliding it for Cameron. The Cruz, here is back. Cameron. Pavlovic. Now the Wanderers start to move through the gears, and Pavlovic is tripped. And that attracts the referee's whistle, so this now is a dangerous free kick opportunity for the Wanderers. It's not exactly out of shooting range. They would have to do well to beat the keeper from this position. Anderson back appears to be taking sole ownership of it. And so now James Hussoy has 3 men in his wall, as Anderson back stands over this one for the Wanderers. It's back. Chips it into a good position. It's headed away by St. George before McStay gives it the big up and under. It's allowed to bounce in the box by the visitors. It falls though, and it's lashed at goal, and now St. George might think about bursting forward on the counter here. Cunningham has green grass up ahead. Scutterich and McStay slowly joining him in support. Scutterich. And cleared by Setinic. Second phase of the attack to come. Suris. Again, it's Setinic that clears only as far as Caden Wright. Another shot is blazed over the bar by St. George. Interesting chances already in this one. And so this game has not been lacking in shots, that's for sure, but no keeper has been really made to work just yet. Sam Goldberg has probably been slightly more stressful, had that awkward deflection just before. Smith, and Sito can't keep the ball in. Katrib. Down and out over the sideline. And so last time these two teams met, it was a stunning 4-0 win for the Western Sydney Wanderers. They have actually enjoyed quite a good recent record against the Saints. 4-0 win earlier this year, a 3-0 win, and another 3-0 win in 2025. It's been almost 2 years since St. George scored a goal against the Wanderers. Wanderers winning their 3 previous fixtures by a combined aggregate of 10-0. And if the Wanderers are going to play finals this season, they will have to win this game, you'd think. Equally, this is a fixture St. George might be able to fancy themselves in the academy side away from home. With a couple of players out of the starting lineup as there's a foul in midfield on Corey De Cruz. Still searching for their first win in 8 games. It's been a rather dramatic slide that has seen them into this position they're here today, but the way this season has been, you never know how it might finish. Katrib gets between defenders. It's still Katrib, but Rocco Smith is just one too many. Scutteridge peels wide, sees he doesn't have much by way of support. And there is McStay to give him a helping hand. They left that, but he wasn't on the same wavelength as Sito, and now Hasarati has something to think about. He's told to get up by the referee, who thought about it for a second. McStay has peeled wide again. Oh, and now there's a bit of extras between Morrison and McStay. That was a little needless from the Wanderers defender. I think just giving McStay an extra push while he was on the ground. I think he might count himself a little lucky there not to have received at least a bit of talking to, if not a booking, as Morrison's clearance is slightly shanked away. McStay is battling again. Now it's with Casella on the edge of the area. It's not a lot of space for St. George to work with. McStay has a shot from range, saved and palmed into the ground. No one was there to pick up the deflection. The swerve and dip on that shot made it awkward for the keeper to deal with. Bounced just before him too, which is where the attackers wanted to bounce. Goldberg is, of course, searching for his first clean sheet as a Wanderers NPL first grade keeper. And here is Rocco Smith looking backwards to his keeper. And now has to get out of an awkward position. O'Shea nodding that down coolly for McStay, and now here is Cunningham, takes it in his stride and beats his man. Scutteridge back with Cunningham again. St. George in full flow now. Here is Caden Wright. He has a shot from distance. Straight onto the chest of Sam Goldberg, but the gears are starting to tick for St. George. Getting a bit more joy in attack, getting more quality looks at goal. And winning it back a lot quicker now thanks to interventions like that from Sito. Smith, really good to stretch out and avoid any danger. Right. Now Sito, it's been a nice extended spell for possession. And St. George at the moment, a good 10 minutes from them. As the commentators curse strike, they've almost given it away, but again Sito has found a way to wrangle possession back. Casella. Scutteridge's boot was high, he has no protests, he knew he was guilty. between defenders, and again that touch was slightly too heavy. St. George, whenever they have been beaten, there's seemingly an extra man up in defence. Cyrus gets that on for Cunningham, and now it's one touch to McStay, but Pavlovic doing very well, and play goes on. There's a couple of little moments in midfield for both teams where you see those one touches moving, and both look good in possession. George will be thinking if they can just get this first goal, which they haven't been far from getting at times. Wanderers are usually first to score in their recent games as Pavlovic trying to create that sort of opportunity. Here he is now. And Cameron. Casella at the top of the press for the Saints, and Pat O'Shea, a good intervention to flick it back to his teammate, and now again St. George go forward. They're just a little deep right now. And Cito senses that and uses the safe option in Casella. The Cruz, important interception. This might spell trouble here for the Saints. Arate was the target. They'll still have it here. Setinich and back. Static right now from the Wanderers. This will give St. George a chance for a reprieve, but for a brief moment they were 2v3. Cameron. A little more direct up to the feet of Pavlovic, and that's a very strong challenge by Mark Rodic. Got plenty of the ball. Soy, an awkward clearance forward. This will put his team in a bit of trouble. And so 25 minutes gone here at Wanderers Football Park. It remains as we started. Wanderers 3 points away from the top 6. St. George 1 point from the Pro Rel playoff spot, getting to that spot. Of course, those with fairly decent memories will remember how St. George got promoted to this competition, defeating the then Mount Druitt Town Rangers over a 2-leg Pro Rel playoff. Our only method to safety this season is through those games. The automatic safety is now too far for either them or Sydney Olympic to reach. They'll likely face one of the Northern Tigers or Bankstown City Lions, pending the results of League One. Cunningham drags down Anderson back, and that's an easy call for the referee. True. Referee gets in the way of that pass from Johnny Pavlovic, and so the Wanderers are going to have to start with the drop ball again. Have had this sort of possession consistently throughout the afternoon. It's just about unlocking this attacking third. Asarati made that run for Morrison, decided against using it. Back, showed too much of it to Casella. Counter attack might be coming. Cunningham was away on the far side. McStay's touch took him to the near side though. Suris has had his pocket picked and is now dragged down Corey De Cruz and isn't going to escape without a booking. I didn't have too many complaints about that. So Suris picks up the yellow card. The St. George right back has at least now until the 90. Katrib on his chest and now to the byline. That's an awkward ball in. It'll come down maybe for the Wanderers and it's deflected away by Rodic. Had a last gasp attempt. De Cruz and Hasarati were right in the mix. It's the first time we've seen Emil Katrib really overlap like that and it was almost a great effect. Now with back. Hasarati. First real big moment for the Wanderers in this contest. McNamara takes a space afforded to him. Suris gets the touch and now this will be a throw for Jesse Cameron. There's the towel well placed and ready to go. Wanderers certainly the shorter side of the two, but they're going to put some numbers up here. Morrison is up there. And now it's looped in towards him. McStay flicks it backwards and as well for James Rasoy. Goes with the drop punt. Up to Skateric looking for the extra long option, but he wasn't making that run. Arate. Takes that invitation to press and Goldberg puts his boot through it. And St. George have won it back. Commentators curse strikes, they turn it over to Cruz. He's trying to get past Suris here. Again, he's on a booking. Arate has sprung behind the defence. It's with Arate. A big shout for a penalty from the Wanderers, but it's been waved away. There certainly was some contact. The question of is whether there was enough to warrant a foul. Referee feeling that Arate went down a little too easy there. That's a very nervy moment for St. George nonetheless. Just an Arate ghosting behind the defence. Another long throw to come. It's a bit deeper this time. It's fallen. Hasarati in the box. And now Cunningham. He's trying to beat back to the ball and has won it. Skateric up ahead. It's still with Cunningham. He tries to feed Skateric in behind. It's with Skateric. Now he goes down. And this time it's St. George who have to see a penalty appeal waved away. End-to-end stuff in either box here at Wanderers Football Park. Just a minute ago it was the Wanderers who were up in arms. Now St. George feel they are the aggrieved party. And it's all started with the industrious running of Isaac Cunningham, who's won the ball back again. Skateric tried to chip it over the defence coolly, but Morrison was up to head it away, and so that will be a St. George FC corner. The game starting to a bit of life, a bit of fire into it. Stay hoping to put in a good delivery here. Get on that Skateric penalty appeal there. Again was contact. Referee feeling like there wasn't enough. So they're all crowded around Sam Goldberg here in goal. McStay, numbers in the 6-yard box for him to aim at. It's a deep ball towards the back post. Goldberg came and didn't claim. Last touch of St. George attackers, so it ends with a Wanderers goal kick. Scutteridge is still having a chat to the referee about what he thought was a foul. O'Shea will gobble those up quite easily in the air. Casella lively on the ball, trying to create something. St. George up to keep possession. Smith skips away from Hasarati, asking a bit of Isaac Cunningham, who is under heavy pressure. Pavlovic has Hasarati ahead, couldn't get it out of his feet, which meant Wright took it off him. McStay coolly around the corner for Pat O'Shea, who slides it across to Wright in space. Numbers forward for St. George. Wright decided to do it himself and he ran into red and black defenders. The Cruz thought about that switch, but Tristan Arate was in off his wing. Now St. George make their move on the press. Morrison decides against the long ball. Goldberg decides to do it himself. Rocco Smith will be underneath this. Hasarati is giving chase. Besoy's touch takes him wide and uses Cunningham. Right, trying to pinch it off back again. The Wanderers wriggle their way out of trouble. Now that might be danger for Goldberg. And McStay was very close and lets him know that he's going to be on him. He's not going to give him space. You just see that 6-yard box at both areas is a little choppy. Both keepers trying to get a touch on the ball before they clear. It almost cost him. Casella has a bit more room to work with this time. Souris is on the overlap. Casella goes himself, but again, it's straight at Sam Goldberg. Towards that left side. Now the Wanderers go. Da Cruz, he's dragged down by Cito. Sorry, not Cito, Souris rather. He's already on a booking. Souris just has to be a little careful here. I wonder what the St. George bench are thinking at the moment. Wanderers go quick. Da Cruz. Wanderers in a good position. McNamara has only passed it straight to the feet of Casella. Immediately St. George break in numbers, but there is McNamara to clean up his mistake a little earlier. See, Wanderers are moving it well side to side. They're just looking for that penetration between the lines. So far, St. George defence not giving them too much. There's Cameron underneath. Setanich. Good touches there. There's De Cruz again. Pat O'Shea is not giving him an inch. Has been the difficulty for the Wanderers trying to find space in midfield. Pavlovic. Rocco Smith has him covered. O'Shea gets the call to turn, and now Casella is in space. St. George, a 3-on-3 on the attack. McStay trying to bring it down onto his left. Saved by Goldberg. Again, another promising counter-attack by St. George. And unfortunately for them, it ends in a fairly comfortable save. Casella doing his defensive work to win it back. St. George trying to put the foot down before half-time. Stay, an ambitious pass was red. Anywhere will do for the Wanderers. They are under a bit of pressure at the moment. Soy. Stay is offside, so he won't get involved. About 5 minutes to go here in this first half. It's St. George that have had slightly better chances. They've looked probably a little more likely to score. As the Wanderers have shown consistently throughout this season, they are always a threat. It's a big reason as to why they're still in the finals picture. And now Hasarati has won that off Smith and tried to catch Hussoy off his line. Knew there wasn't really anyone in the box for him to aim at. And so it all ends in just a goal kick. Of course, as mentioned, the Wanderers such a good attacking side. They are the second leading scorers this season. Only Apia at the top of the table have scored more goals than the Wanderers Academy this year. 51 goals from 26 games, just under 2 a game is a very handy rate, but so far this St. George defence have not given them too much. Pavlovic is working hard but can't get between two defenders. Skuteric goes to ground, wins the foul. And St. George go quickly. McStay trying to turn the defence around, but Mara plays back to his keeper. Strong from Smith, and Skuteric trying to turn past the defence, still has it. Moving it along for Isaac Cunningham. Well read by Emil Kutrib. And now he frees the feet and gets forward. Arate. Still has Kutrib alongside him. That's where he goes. And now Sito leaves his man in the dust. Cunningham is making that run in behind. Can Skuteric find him? He can. Cunningham looking for someone to cut it back for. It's with McStay. A lovely goal by St. George FC, and how significant a goal that may prove to be. It all started with some good defensive work by Jaden Sito, moving along to Skuteric, and then Isaac Cunningham with a smart run in behind. And Chris McStay left alone on the penalty spot. He was only going to bury that from 12 yards. And so St. George have taken an important lead here at Wanderers Football Park. A result which they desperately need to climb off the foot of the ladder. And on the live ladder, they are now up above Sydney Olympic, who will be in action later today. And that goal is exactly what St. George have been threatening to do. They've had a couple of decent counter-attacks. They've just been looking for that finishing touch, and there was just too much space and too much time. as Chris McStay notches up goal number 4 on the year and does it in fine fashion. It's his first since UNSW away back in round 19. And for the Wanderers, meanwhile, it's a massive blow to their hopes of trying to get into the top 6 this season. One of the teams that between 5th and 14th that are still mathematically a chance. St. George City's win against Sydney FC last night has certainly complicated the finals picture even further. McStay is trying to get to the ahead of McNamara. McStay is playing with a real vigour here this afternoon. Has been good defensively in the press, has been buzzing around in midfield as we're accustomed to seeing him do, and now has his name on the score sheet. And where there is life, there is hope, and there is more than enough life in this St. George performance so far this afternoon. Crucial goal to get just before halftime as well. Souris, Padoche going to ground. And just after that goal, Passerati was, the assistant referee, complaining that he was fouled in the build-up to it, but they'll have to worry about a second here. Skateric does it on his own. It's deflected away, and Cunningham was winding up for the strike. St. George won't want this half to end. They've got a second goal in their sights here. I have a minute plus whatever stoppage time we do have to try and make it a quick double before they head into the sheds. And it's awkward from Wright and Cito. So we'll have one additional minute. What can either team do to see this one out? Rodic lumping it up to Skateric. Right, has spotted Casella in space. That's asking a lot of him. He does really well there, Jason Casella. He's not the tallest player, but he was very good in the air on that occasion. Looks like St. George is just happy to keep possession. Might get one final chance if they're lucky here. As Rodic, the low percentage pass forward, and so that might just about get us to halftime, and so it does. It is Chris McStay's goal off a blistering hot St. George counter-attack. That's the difference between the two teams at the break. And so after 45 minutes, it's the Western Sydney Wanderers 0, St. George FC 1. We'll be back on the other side of this halftime break.
Every week, hundreds of thousands of people turn up around football grounds around New South Wales. Parents, kids, refs, coaches and volunteers. Cardiac incidents can happen to anyone at any time on the pitch.
Right now, not every club has a defibrillator.
And the ones that do are not always maintained or ready to use. In a critical moment, with a defib, that could save lives. That's why Football New South Wales, St John Ambulance and Toyota have come together for Every Beat Matters to help clubs around New South Wales to access defibrillators, cover maintenance and build a register so we know exactly where every unit is around the state. All you need to do is buy a ticket through Raffletix. $5 can make a difference. Every ticket goes towards funding defibrillators and maintenance for clubs that need it most. A live fundraising board shows exactly how much is being raised. And every ticket you buy puts you in the draw to win a Toyota Corolla. One ticket, real impact. Help your club be ready when it matters. So buy your ticket today.
Bearing down on the edge of the box, Kushka. Inside one defender, can he get inside two? Battling for the ball, still there for Clark. Clark plays it across, and it's a tap in for Bailey Callahan. Beautiful feed, a beautiful interplay there. Harb versus Curto. He's waited an age here, his Jyden Harb. Takes 2 steps back, Jyden Harb, and he converts into the bottom corner. 1 goal apiece. It's Jyden Harb from the penalty spot. He's on song now, Kukushka. Touches the ball back inside for Bagaria. Bagaria with the shot, low-driven shot. Oh, it slipped through the fingers! It has slipped through the fingers. A calamitous error there from Tristan Prendergast. Armanakis plays it short. Nizam, he had a chance in the first half. Can he create a chance in the second half? Got Nizam! Well, it's off the post, it's off the line. The goal is given. The goal is given.
Good ball in. Knezovic lays it to Everett, goes low, Kianese! There's the opener for the Raiders. A brilliant finish from a man in a rich vein of form. Malbassa launches it forward. Franson heads it past his keeper. It's an open goal for McGrath if he could get to it. Back across. And that's the 3-point sealed for the Raiders. Yakov Malbassa. Now Rag. Can they make it 3 here? Malbassa again! 2 off the bench for Yakov Malbassa, and it is 3-0 for the Raiders.
Marconi looked as though they were finding their rhythm a short time ago, but they've been opened up here by the straight ball. And Evans is bearing down on goal. Kai Evans! His first senior goal, taken brilliantly. Almost an ever-present since his recall. And they're striding forward again here, Manly. He might be able to double his money, Evans. Or can he find a teammate? Coop! It's 2! Disaster for Marconi. Manly are in dreamland. Poised. And he does find Bayliss at the top of the box. And then Yesic sweeps the ball home. And Marconi are alive. A hush descends over Cromer Park. And De Robillard scores. That should be the decisive goal.
Doing well to win the loose ball. Sutherland can't maintain possession though, and it's a nice ball over the top for Fowler. It'll drop nicely for Fowler. 1-on-1 with Nisic. Nisic gets a hand to it, but ball's in the back of the net. Zach Fowler opens the scoring here. Seymour Shaw, roughly 30 metres from goal. Will be Perez to step up. And it's in the back of the net. John Perez, what a strike that was. Jordan Perez, take a bow.
Couldn't find the angle for a shot. The first to Kobayashi. Peacock got up but didn't get. Will it drop here? Keeley! Spirit hit the front. We'll be happy to have avoided all those scares, but this might drop here for Peacock potentially. Lays it off. Keeley, 2-0. Callum Keeley with a quick fire double. O'Brien. Major deflected ball. It's in. Blacktown have their goal back. Spirit have got superior numbers in space. Alawalia. Oh, it's in. Spirit have surely sealed it now.
Can we find a goal? Bedleg doing his best to try and create one for the home side. Nearly forces a chance. Does force a chance. And there's the opening goal of the night for St George City. Lucas Bedleg, 3 weeks running, puts the home side in front.
Fujita and Yamamura with a shot, and he's picked out the bottom right corner. And Wollongong have the lead. And now Tillo can carry on down the right wing. Great ball from Vlasiewicz. Still going Tillo inside. Blocked by Duarte. And Krislovic has scored. It's 1-1. Flies it over halfway. Shaked. Ball over the top for Krislovic. He's in on goal here. Pokes it past Kunyul. And have United 58 just won it right at the death. What an impact the young striker has had off the bench. But it is heartbreaking for the Wolves.
Welcome back to the second half of football here at Wanderers Football Park, where Western Sydney Wanderers trail by a goal to nil. And St George FC scoring a few minutes before half-time through Chris McStay. And it looks like the Wanderers have made a change in response to going down a goal. Marko Radovancevic is onto the pitch in midfield. St George FC, meanwhile, look like they are as they started. Figure out which Wanderers players come off, but for the meantime, it is just one set of fresh legs in. Of course, plenty of other teams keeping tabs on this game, and what are the other teams that are jostling for position with the Wanderers in the race for the finals. The Sydney Olympic are an hour away from action against Sydney United 58. It'll be one of them or St George that'll finish bottom of the ladder. At the moment on the live ladder, St George occupy that all-important Pro-Rel playoff spot, which gives them a fighting chance of survival. Wanderers are straight into it here. He's fallen down for Tristan Arate, now with Setinic. Radovancevic. McNamara and now Oscar Morrison. Looks like they've also switched around their backline a little bit too. Jesse Cameron is now at centre back alongside Oscar Morrison. McNamara, who was previously partnering Morrison, is now at left back. It's awkward from Goldberg, almost invited Skataric, who I didn't think expected Goldberg to take that touch and was caught unawares. Pass is sprayed wide to Katrip, and now he moves it on for Arate. Sito has him covered and that goes out of play. Looks like it is Anderson back that was the player that's made way for Radovancevic. If that was tactical or forced. Didn't look like he was carrying a knock there back. Katrib fighting hard to keep that in and did. Cleared back into the middle of the park. Radovancevic will bring this down. It's with Marko Radovancevic. Didn't catch it as well as he would have hoped. Of course, Apia and the SD Raiders also were kicked off. Apia came into the round 4 points ahead of Sydney United at the top of the table. SD have had to come down from the high of defeating A-League side MacArthur FC on penalties midweek in the Australia Cup, and their quarter-final date awaits against Sydney FC. Of course, they've still got finals to play for potentially. What a season the newly promoted side is having. McStay tells Casella to make that run. Morrison plays it back towards McStay. And so St George are going to have this throw deep inside the Wanderers' half. They were very close to getting a second goal just before the break, St George. They probably wouldn't have wanted half-time to come. They were very close a couple of times. Let's see if they can continue this momentum after some more instructions. Zuris. Down for Pat O'Shea, was looking for a teammate. No one is up for the Wanderers, so Rocco Smith can take this touch and spray it left for Sito. There is Isaac Cunningham, who had a couple of really bright moments in that first half where he was darting behind the defence, played a crucial role in the goal. Casella. McStay gets between ball and man. Still with Chris McStay and beats his defender between the legs. McStay, a good cross in for Skataric and Cunningham. And it could have been either one, but in the end it was none. As they have to watch a golden chance go by the wayside. And Chris McStay almost turned provider there. Not sure if Skataric was expecting the ball to get to him. Looked like the Wanderers defender may have missed their header and caught him off guard. Just mistimed his jump slightly. And then Cunningham at the back post was perhaps expecting McStay. McStay's cross to fight Skataric instead of him. But there is plenty of positivity about this St George attack. They're hoping that they can get this second goal while they have the momentum. Now the press comes. The Wanderers find their way through. McNamara passes loose. It's always back to him. Getting ball and all on his way through. St. George just slow things down a little bit, but they'll be very wary of the scoring rate of the Wanderers. Of course, Alan Lawal is waiting in the wings. I wonder if we'll be seeing him very soon to try and change the tides of this Wanderers attack. Back to Soy, who's just going to take some time off the clock. From Katrib, just turns the St. George defence around, but just get the sense that maybe one goal, the way this Wanderers team have been this season, one goal might not be enough to seal 3 points on the road. A second would have them in much better stead. Smith is looking for the switch to Jaden Casella, but it's too close. Sam Goldberg. Setanich turns in midfield. Again, there's just no way through for this Wanderers midfield at the moment. St. George are meeting them at every turn. Casella with the big up and under. Skutterich is trying to get in behind, but again, too close to Goldberg. Cameron. Arate. You just see how well set they are at the moment, St. George, in their structure. 2 blocks of 4, and then McStay and Skutterich up ahead. And that pass will skip along the surface, and so attack dealt with. So happy to take some time here. Not sure exactly if slower pace suits St. George. When they've been going fast is when they look most dangerous. McStay, that's a really important touch because they've got numbers on this right side with Casella. Here is Casella. First time cross is low and dangerous. Wonder is able to get it away, but again there is St. George to keep the ball down this end. Skutterich might get to this, but not ahead of Goldberg. Very close today. Nicholas Skutterich had that good chance about 5 minutes ago. No doubt he'll be thinking a little bit about that. The Cruz. Looking for the speed of Tristan Arate. Sito has him covered. And that'll be a St. George throw. Last touch off Arate. Just hoping to ride the wave of momentum that St. George are currently on at the moment. So they can get out the other side, and 20 minutes to go. If they are still in this position, they back themselves to get a goal. Although a draw doesn't really do much for either. Wanderers need a win given all the other teams ahead of them. Even though they are only 3 points away from final, so there's a bit of a gap in terms of ladder position. Cameron. Radovancevic. Outside of the foot pass to Pavlovic, and just for a brief moment the Wanderers started moving it about. Just dulled a little bit in the last 5 minutes as St. George continued to frustrate the Wanderers. Although Caden Wright has found this right side with McStay, with Souris as well. It's hard work out there. Rain has thankfully stayed away, but the pitch is certainly playing a little heavy. It's awkward from St. George. Arate can't bring the touchdown. Still looks like the visitors aren't in a hurry to make any changes just yet. Of course, the St. George team has been really hit in terms of their depth. A lot of injuries this year. Pass was short, and now it's dangerous. The Wanderers getting forward. McNamara, the chop, the touch. And now here is the cross. It's a good one too. Smith at full stretch to get it away. Now it's Setinich. And to Cruz. Back with McNamara. Second delivery. It's brought down and Rasoy had his angles covered. Watching Hasarati strike bobble wide of the goal. So here comes that double change. Looks like Scutterich and Pat O'Shea's afternoon has come to an end. I think that's Justin Poon on the far side coming on in place of Scutterich, so maybe a bit of a reshuffle in attack. And so Poon is going to come across the right wing, Casella the left wing, and Cunningham will go to the centre. Pat O'Shea has been replaced by Rafael Costa. Cunningham's first involvement as a striker is to win a flick on. So fresh legs in midfield and attack. Poon. Good turn of speed. Here he is, Poon. That's a good ball in as well. Morrison plays it back to him. They're trying to get it through Cunningham, but couldn't free the feet, but some good touches by Justin Poon early. Had a really bright start to the season when St. George were on their run, and now Cunningham is taking it. He has a strike. Goldberg almost spills for McStay. But those two changes have just sparked things up a little bit for St. George. Justin Poon. And another one of these long-term St. George players that have been with the squad for a while. Does know this team very well. It looks like Wanderers have two changes of their own about to go through. Plenty of fresh legs still to come, and be shocked if this game ends 1-0. Well, the Wanderers were kept scoreless last week by SD Raiders, and St. George did get a clean sheet against the best attack in the competition. They're trying to get another clean sheet, this time against the second best. Arate has gotten the other side of his man here, looking for Hasarati. And Rodic was played back to him while he was on the ground from Rocco Smith. I'm not sure if Smith had his head up to realise that was where his other defender was. And so, ball goes out of play. I think this might be that change about to go through. McStay is making this run. And now he goes short. Poon has the fresh legs and he'll start this press. Alon Lawal and Mustafa Abdelatif seem to be waiting. And it's a very scary sight. The NPL's top scorer will have half an hour with fresh legs against the tired defence. St. George are going to have their hands full very soon. McNamara. Some good feet there, and now he's trying to match it with the pass, but again, Wanderers just perhaps forcing it a little bit. There is some space for them in midfield if they want to use it. They don't have to consistently look up towards Hasarati. And now he's got to try and chase this into the corner, but he's offside. And so here come those changes. Mustafa Abdelatif will replace Giorgio Hasarati, and Tristan Arate will be replaced by Awan Lawal. And so now things might kick up into a gear, another gear for the Wanderers in attack. They've not been far away in this second half, but it's still been well managed by the St. George defence. Morrison. De Cruz. Looking for Abdelatif, who won't get there ahead of Smith, but is going to be close enough to put enough pressure on him. Rocco Smith. Lawal joins to box him into that corner, but he does really well to get out of that, Rocco Smith. St. George looks like they might be just digging their heels in a bit defensively, sensing that this might be the best they get. They were very close to a second. Shouldn't give up on that. Katrib. And Cameron. Delatif trying to get on the other side of Sito. Pavlovic putting some pressure on in the air. Smith felt that he was fouled as it's cleared towards his right side. Great touch by Chris McStay. 40-yard pass brought down on a dime. Now Poon has space and has the speed up ahead, sees Cunningham further forward. Waits for options to help him. Poon. It'll be a corner. St. George continue to be a constant threat in attack. Changes have certainly helped in that regard. Second will be absolutely crucial. And so again, they put numbers into that 6-yard box. Delivery is on its way from Casella towards the far post. This time it's knotted down and knotted in. And a massive goal for Isaac Cunningham. The mid-season signing. And how crucial that one may be. just as we said that one may not be enough, St. George go down the other end and put away one from a corner. A great ball in by Jaden Casella, an equally good header by Isaac Cunningham, as he notches up his first goal in St. George colours. And it may be one of their most important goals of the season at that, as they try to rest this winless streak. And only 25 minutes and this 2-goal lead. May just be able to get there if they can hold on. And Isaac Cunningham, who was brought up from League One from Rydalmere. Had a good season last year, had another solid season this year, put 8 goals away for Rydalmere before coming across to St. George. Although St. George can't get complacent, the Wanderers still have time to get 2 or more. Lawal into the game, trying to win it back, and almost has, but the referee's whistle is going to deny him. Just the 5th time this season, St. George have 2 goals in a game. Attack has been difficult this season, but they've looked pretty good today, it must be said, both on set pieces as they've scored, but also in open play. Their first goal was really well worked. Their second, a little more old school. They all count nonetheless. So on the live ladder, they are now 2 points ahead of Sydney Olympic in the Pro Rail playoff spot. Olympic pending a result, which kicks off at 5 p.m. between them and Sydney United 58 at Belmore. Of course, Sydney United are playing for something themselves. They are trying to catch up here, so still plenty to go at both ends of the table. Katrib, cross is deflected. Right. Silky between the defender's legs. Now with Cunningham. McStay is centrally for him. That's where he looks. Cunningham continues his run, but it was undercooked from McStay. I mentioned that it's just the 5th time that St. George have scored 2 goals in a game. It's the 2nd time since round 10. Most of their attacking success was earlier in the year, but they've rediscovered it. Wanderers are going to respond with another change. And perhaps even more importantly for St. George, this would be their 2nd clean sheet on the bounce. 3 in their last 4. Those are very encouraging signs. They are to secure that Pro Rail playoff spot now. Caden Wright has gotten it away from De Cruz, and now Suris looks up, doesn't see any blue shirts, and draws what will be a foul. And De Cruz can't have too many complaints about that. So a change is on its way. Emil Katrib is going to be replaced by number 26, Bradley Marzal. Wanderers have set their line quite high here. It's a good 5 metres ahead of the 18-yard box. And McStay put this on a pin in the perfect area right behind it. Has a good area of space to aim for between the defence and the keeper. McStay was very close to the keeper, but Rodic was running through and was offside as he made that run. And may just be cramping here. And Oscar Morrison is going to very sportingly help him stretch that out. Maybe another change to come from St. George. Mark Rodic has really battled hard out there. This is the type of conditions defenders love to play in. A gloomy Saturday afternoon. Put in a couple of really big challenges, has Rodic alongside Rocco Smith. This has been a battle-hardened performance by St. George against this Wanderers Academy team so far. Pavlovic again showed too much of it to Smith, and Rocco Smith felt that he was fouled. Was close in coming through, but it's only going to be a Wanderers corner. St. George will have to defend this. As mentioned, still plenty of time for this Wanderers attack to get a couple of goals. De Cruz is tasked with delivering this ball in. It's a good one too, but it's a little deep. And McStay realizes he has time. And McStay, speculative pass forward, is asking Justin Poon to get there. Goldberg heads that down. Cunningham is into the challenge, but all over the back of Marko Radovancevic. Pass is loose for Sentinel. Poon is going to get there before. Right. Lovely outside of the foot pass to unlock space for Casella. St. George with eyes on a third. It's with Casella. No one was at the back post though. McStay busting a lug to get there. The combination of Wright and Suris win it back. Suris leaving that for McStay, who was just a little flat-footed on the return. Wasn't expecting Suris to use him. Now there's a bit of space left at the back for St. George. For Cruz. On it goes for Jesse Cameron. Radovancevic. Pavlovic at full stretch to keep it at the feet of the Wanderers. St. George really sitting deep right now, trying to conserve this 2-goal advantage they have. Try and get them their first win in 8. Lawal is trying to angle the head. Rocco Smith clearing that away. Now it's with Lawal trying to turn past Smith. It's still with Lawal. Saved by Hussoy, and last touch off the Wanderers striker. So it's just a St. George goal kick after all that. Is going to chase this. It'll sit, but again that bounce is very close to Goldberg. St. George a draw last time out, another draw a couple weeks before that. This will be their third set of points in 4 games if they can hold on to it. They've been picking up a point here and there, but a win is really what they need. Wanderers are close to making another change here. George sit back in their 2 banks of 4. A little deeper than they were previously. Abdelatif. Radovancevic. Pavlovic, again, has been really well handled by Wright. And now there's a big coming together between Marzal and Casella. Casella didn't take too kindly to the challenge. It was right in front of the St. George bench as well. So Wanderers are going to make another change here. Corey De Cruz, his afternoon comes to an end, and in comes Oscar Moore. Another like-for-like change in midfield. Meanwhile, Chris McStay is receiving some physio treatment. I think they are going to substitute goal scorer. Again, they can't afford to risk McStay. They need as many players healthy for this important 2-game run home. St. George. So still to come for the Saints beyond this. They have Blacktown at home next week. And depending on Blacktown's results, Blacktown may still need that to be in the mix for finals. Then they play Sydney United away on the final day. And Sydney United may or may not still be in the premiership hunt. Depends on whether Apia drop points to them. So Lachlan Sepping has replaced McStay. Sepping another one mid-season contingent. 15 to go. Still St. George with this 2-goal advantage. Sepping can't get there ahead of the defence. And so Cirrus will march his way towards the throw-in spot. Rodic gets it out of his feet. Poon wins that flick on, but Cunningham's not a crossing support. Smith's good in the air. Sepping, check of the shoulder, sees he has Cunningham and Poon is appealing for a foul now, and he's going to get it. The referee had a long, hard look at it, but a tug on the shirt of the St. George winger was enough to attract his whistle, and this is more time off the clock for the visitors. Meanwhile, Apia Leichhardt have taken a lead against the SD Raiders. A reminder, Sydney Olympic and Sydney United still to come at 5, as well as Manly United and Spirit FC. Manly hoping that the SD Raiders drop points, because Manly can make up some ground and even further cement their position inside the top 6. There is a little deeper their defensive line this time. This one will be on its way from Jaden Casella. It's a good ball in. It's headed away by the Wanderers. Pavlovic has Sepping on his back. Sepping on the turn. Has the fresh legs. Trying to create a crossing angle, but they won't be rushed here, St. George. They can try and keep possession for as long as they can down this end of the pitch. Sepping is in a battle to hold it in the corner against Setanich. And that will be a St. George corner kick. Sepping doing his job there. And across comes Jaden Casella. A third would be the icing on the cake. I want to go short here, St. George. You fancy they might try and keep this in the corner. Casella having a hit himself. Marzal was across to deny him. St. George have not scored 3 in NPL men's fixture since round 1 against the Wollongong Wolves. Wouldn't this be a time to break that little drought? Of course, goal difference may still be important. They have the better goal difference over Olympic. At the moment, that is by a margin of 7. Casella, they're all in that 6-yard box again. Can they repeat the trick that saw Cunningham score? That time the Wanderers defence it to it. Sepping caught it very well. But now the Wanderers are bursting forward on the counter. Radovancevic with some good touches, and Rocco Smith pulls him down and picks up a yellow card for his troubles. Wasn't a lot of contact in it from Smith, but the fact that the Wanderers were away on a counter is probably what warranted that booking. Plus stoppages, which we should have a decent amount of. Both teams have made plenty of changes, almost cleared their benches at this point. Delatif. Cito is in no hurry. Get play back underway, more valuable seconds tick away in favour of St. George. Lawal, more. Pavlovic trying to link up with Lawal, now Setinic. Cito steps out, almost lost the ball, and now it's won it back, and now there's a foul going against the Wanderers. I thought for a second it may have gone the other way. That would have sent some real protests up from St. George, but they will get that foul, and so looks like another change is about to come through. Isaac Cunningham, he's jogging off rather enthusiastically, gets told to slow down by his teammates, and so he departs with the all-important second goal and his first as a St. George FC player. Makimoto is on in place of him. That's awkward from St. George. This is going to put a bit of pressure under Suris instead of just go out of play. Makimoto was one of their mid-season signings as well. This is just his 7th appearance of the season. A lot of fresh faces to St. George this year, but they can get to that pro playoff spot. 8 minutes. And this one plus stoppages remain. Good delivery in. Morrison is there and free. Pavlovic is underneath as well. Oscar Moore takes it. Now it's deflected almost through, but goes the other side of the post. And again, it was some good defense by St. George there. Trying as best they can to hold them to this clean sheet and not give the Wanderers any sniff of a comeback. Moore's corner is low and hard, and Poon is there. Makimoto. And Moore. Rodic, strong clearance. Casella fighting for it in the air. Sepping has gone wide. Makimoto is making a run here if they could find him. Well, that'll just skip away on the surface. St. George keeping things very tight at the moment. Casella just gets that away, and Makimoto is grinding hard to clear it. And Sepping has space and has Poon on this far side. Sepping goes himself. It falls back to Poon though. St. George looking for what would be the dagger. Suris on the overlap. Back with Sepping. Again, more possession is good news for St. George. They can keep this Wanderers team down this end of the pitch. Rodic. St. George, as they build up here, have to be careful not to lose it in midfield. That'll give the Wanderers a chance. Lawal, good flick onto Pavlovic, who tries to return the favour. Hosoi, awkward, but Smith is there, has to get it out of his feet with Abdelatif right there with him. Rodic, his turn to get rid and find safety over the sideline. It's not pretty defensively by St. George, but they're hoping it does the job. Given away by the Wanderers. Poon looking for a safe pass and finds it in the form of Sito. Smith goes back to his keeper. Risoi. Makimoto is going to hope the bounce favours him. It only gets to Goldberg, and now McNamara. Moore. Pass is shut down by Suris. McNamara. Radovancevic. Wanderers looking for this cross. Moore gets that away. Cameron recycles possession. Another wave of attack is coming. You can see 11 behind the ball for the Saints, holding on to this 2-goal lead. Radovancevic to Pavlovic and Lawal. Now it's Moore's turn. His shot is blocked. This blue wall around the edge of the 18-yard box is proving very difficult to get through. Pavlovic. Lawal's onto his chest now. Radovancevic, it was awkward, and now Moore's been dragged down. And this is a very good free kick potentially coming for the Western Sydney Wanderers. No one but Awan Lawal seems to be in contention for this free kick. Lawal, who has 20 goals to his name in the competition this season. Top of the Golden Boot race. Looking to give the Wanderers a lifeline. It is Lawal. It is over the wall, but it is wide of the goal. He's very close there, Awan Lawal, and I think James Hosoi is just going to be given the hurry up. Question will now be how much time is going to be added on. Good flick on by Poon. It keeps the ball in the Wanderers' half. They go to Morrison. Cameron. Space wide for the Wanderers. Can they make use of it? Into the final minute of the regulation 90. McNamara, sorry. It's still the Wanderers that have it with Marzal. Moore. When Lawal goes to ground, no foul is given. The Wanderers are battling for it. Lawal is trying to free his feet with Moore who cutting it back. Lawal, can he get it away? And somehow the Wanderers haven't been able to make James Desoy work from that position. It just wouldn't sit for Lawal. He had to get back towards it. And in the end had to see his shot deflected away for another corner. 3 minutes of time will be added on. Lawal gets up for the header. It falls back and it's a good shot and it's gone all the way in. And the Wanderers have a goal back through Bradley Marzal. Is there time for a second though? And just as well they got that second goal, St. George. And now they've got to be very careful because there's still a very good chunk of stoppage time. We just had the board for 3 minutes go up. And after that goal, we might just have at least 2.5. As that's Marzal's first goal of 2026. And this would be quite the miracle if the Wanderers could make it happen. It would be heartbreak for St. George's. Abdelatif is trying to force his way through. Sepping with Poon. Has it turned over, McNamara wins it back off him. Wanderers have numbers in the attacking third. Right. St. George are happy to try and move it around, but the Wanderers are winning it back. They've got that extra 5% at the moment. The Saints holding on for dear life to what would be a significant set of 3 points, a drought-breaking set of 3 points. Sepping has found space in the centre. And with Casella going back all the way to Rocco Smith. And out over the sideline from right. A reminder the Wanderers need points themselves to try and stay within touching distance of the finals. Smith will shepherd this out of play. That's important from the Saints as well. They're going to take more time off the clock. And so on the live ladder for the Wanderers, this would take them still 3 points away from the 6, pending results of Rockdale.
Come on!
Desoy is going to go long. No chances taken. Morrison, another flick on from the Wanderers. It's with Pavlovic. Sent over the sideline by Casella. Is there time for the Wanderers? Perhaps one last roll of the dice. Cameron. All forward for Western Sydney. Marzal looking for Alan Lawal, and Rocco Smith had to get there, wasn't taking chances, leaving that for his keeper. Cito, his clearance wasn't convincing, but it deflects back to James Desoy. He lets that roll out of play for a goal kick. All eyes on the referee.
Come on! Head up, come on!
So he will take his spot and might count himself lucky here not to get a booking. Perhaps the whistle might be going very soon. But he's allowed to move the ball before, as long as he doesn't put it down, and so there it is. A massive 3 points for St. George FC, which temporarily takes them off the bottom spot, pending results at Belmore, which is about to come in a few minutes. But it's their first win in 8, And it's an important win away from home as Chris McStay got the scoring started, but it's Isaac Cunningham's first of the season in St. George FC colours that has sealed all 3 points away to the Western Sydney Wanderers, who made a late fight back through Bradley Marzal. But ultimately the Saints, and that 2-goal margin proved to be enough as they now march on to next week with a bit more optimism that they can get into that Pro Roll playoff spot and get away from automatic relegation. So full time here at Wanderers Football Park, where it has finished. The Western Sydney Wanderers 1, St. George FC 2.